Happy New Year. I'm going to apologise straight off because I've still got a bit of a croaky voice. It comes and goes, so hopefully it'll hang out for the Facebook, YouTube Live. If you are joining me, please make a comment so I know you're there and I'm not on my own. Oh, I've done it. See, look, first in, and I'm already sticking my finger in the camera. I've got to stop doing that. So today we are answering a request from a couple of ladies, Tina particularly, doing some stuff with some mica powder, showing you a few things that you can do with it. So let's flip around. Oh, actually, let me show you something else first. We have got, I found some new storage that we are now selling. We have only got a limited stock, but this is what I am now storing all my stamps in. How pretty is that? It comes in, I'll show you the different colours it comes in, but it comes with the little insert folders, so it fits your dies in. There is another little strip at the side of these here that you can slot your name, the name of the product, or if you've got some like skinny border dies and things, they'd be perfect for that. They fit our 7x7. They fit our medium size. Medium size stamps in. I'm trying to work out whether I like them better with the inserts in or without. So verdict out on that at the moment. So that's one without, obviously. But look how many you can get in there. You get 15 of the little pockets in there. But you know, the clear, let me think, have I got any of those in here? The clear wallets that I store stuff in as well, that have no binding at the side. Sorry, no hole punches at the side. They also fit in here as well. So that is the smaller version, and as I say, they come in different colours. So that's the white rose one, which I believe is called, oh, I can't remember, Olivia, I want to say, no, Camilla. And then this is what I'm storing my larger ones in. This one is Olivia Damask, pink and green. What else do you expect? Hi Teresa, hi to oh, two Teresas, look, both joined me. And this fits in our larger sets of stamps, the A5 size, and it also fits in our stencils. These are the pockets I'm talking about, because the larger boxes don't come with any inserts, but these are the little pockets I'm talking about. So there's no hole punched. I think I just got them on Amazon, cheap as chips. So that is my other storage. They are available on our website. I'm trying to do it so that you can kind of see the size. There you go. So they're sort of square footage. So that's the Olivia Damask. And then it also comes, and again, these are all really limited stock, and both sizes also come in this one. This one is particularly limited stock. And this one is called Camilla Floral, I believe. All the pictures and stuff are on our website, so that's the website address, www.honeydewcrafts.co.uk. Tina, feeling a lot better than I was, thank you very much. Still not 100% fighting fit, but we're getting there, which is what it's all about. So, as I say, I apologise if my voice cracks a little bit as we're going along. So hopefully you'll all like the new excuse me, the new boxes, storage boxes, as much as I do. We are limited stock on them, and when they're gone, they're gone. I can't get any more of them, so you'll need to be quick. But at the moment I can't get any more anyway. Hi Lynn, hope you're feeling better and your shoulders all back up and running. Right, so let's get back to what we're going to be doing today. So we are going to be doing mica powders. So we have a selection of colours of mica powders. I think we've got about 25, 26 in the collection. We will also be using VersaFine ink in Onyx Black, Versamark ink, crystal clear embossing powder, obviously our sticky glue in the 2 sizes. What else have we got? We are going to be using, these are just stamps, a random selection that I've pulled off that I can show, that I'm going to demo some different bits. Oh, the light's bouncing. It hasn't bounced this whole time. We've got Garden Delight, Birthday Cake, just because I'm using that sentiment again, a script, and Trio of Flowers, which also comes with a matching die if you want to cut that out. So we'll pop those to one side. We will also be playing about with some stencils. So obviously we've got our new stencils and masks that we released just before Christmas. And the tartan stencil is the one I'm going to be using today. And we'll also be using our cardstock, which we have in the black. And we also have the Super Smooth in 300 GSM and 250 GSM. So the choice is yours on those. Hopefully I'm speaking loud enough. I'm trying my best. I keep getting told that I whisper, but I don't realise I'm whispering. So fingers crossed you're all hearing me okay. So let's clear the decks a little bit so that we can get started on this. I'm just going to move these over to the other side because that's the easier side for me to work from. So let's go. Right, first of all, before I do a finished card, I'm going to show you a few techniques first. So let's get some bits and pieces ready to show you the techniques. So now the mica powders can be used on all sorts of different things. You can use them on woods, you can use them on MDF, you can use them on cardstock, you can use them on vellum. But on vellum you need to be careful with the amount of water you use because it will curl the vellum if you use too much water. Bear with me. Right, so let's get started. First of all, you can do so much with these. So we're going to show you painting first. Right, and I'm literally going to do this on scrap bits of paper just so that you can see how it all works. And they look completely different whether you use them on black cardstock or whether you use them on white cardstock as well. So if you were at school like me many moons ago and you had powder paints that you used to just put a load of paint into a container and add a load of water, it's that kind of concept for painting. So this one is our raspberry ripple. But when we were at school, we used to put all the paint in and then keep adding water, and you ended up with huge amounts of paint that you don't really use, and wasted a lot of powder, which was fine when we weren't paying for it, but as we're now paying for it. So all I've done is put a little blob of water on here, the tiniest amount. Then with the brush is still wet, and I'm just going to dip that in the top of my pot and get some powder on the end of the brush. And I'm just going to mix that in that tiny little amount of water. You'll be amazed at how far this goes. Now, if you've got a paint palette or something like that, you could mix it directly into the paint palette, and it will, if you leave it in there, it will dry, but you can go back and reactivate it with just some water. You found me on you're on YouTube though, Elizabeth, you've done well. So, with the painting, you've mixed your powder up. Now, you're going to load your brush up. Then you'll say, why is she holding a piece of kitchen paper? Right. So I then take my brush and hold it down on the paper. Now you will see the water drain out of the top of the brush. Obviously you leave a little bit of powder on there. It looks horrendous, but you're leaving the smallest amount. So we are just going to go in, and I'm just going to show you how this works. Now, a couple of things you need to know about painting with mica powders. If you go in a straight line, you're going to end up with a straight line image. If you go in little circles, they tend to blend a little bit better. Now, to make it a darker colour, there is no point adding more powder to this to make it darker. It will not change the colour of this powder. Let this dry. And now every time you load your brush, remember, go in, drain the excess water off the top of your brush. Once this has dried, you can go back in, obviously you need to let it dry, and go over the top with another colour, with the same colour, and it will pick up as a darker colour. Obviously it is better if you've managed to let that dry. So I will just pop off for a second. You can see that it is coming through slightly darker. So this is what I mean. You can see how going in a straight line with it gives us the brush lines. Going in a circle, you avoid those brush lines. Now I do tend to stamp and emboss if I'm going to paint. Hence we had the products that we did at the start of the Facebook Live. So I'm going to just show you a couple of things as we're going along. First, I mark Onyx Black. I'm going to stamp my image out. Then we're going to put some crystal clear embossing powder over the top. Couldn't find us on Facebook, Elizabeth, that's not good. We are live on the Honeydew Crafts page, not the Be Inspired page, if that helps. So you might be able to find us there next time. So, what have you all been up to? It seems ages since we've been on here. So we are going to heat from underneath. Now, particularly with this technique, if you can manage to heat from underneath, it will help you. Because wherever this embossing powder is, your mica powder will resist. So if you've got speckles that go into your petals, if you heat from above, that will cause you a problem when it comes to painting. So we've heat embossed that. Remember, your powder's still there and it's still wet. But if it dries up, just go back in with a little bit of water and you can reactivate that. So load your brush up. Drain the excess out. You don't want to make it too thick. If it's too thick, it will go really gloopy on here. So I'm going to try and do this in the air so that you can see what I talk about. So we're going to go in with this mica powder. My goodness, it's not easy to do that floating in the air. So wherever I'm literally scribbling over the top of that whole image, and it resists off the black. So I'm just going to pop that down so I can do this really quickly and fill in all the bits I've missed. Load the brush up again, drain the excess off, and go back in. Now if you forget to drain the excess, oh, that's a bit shaky, isn't it? If you forget to drain the excess off, don't panic. Clean your brush, dry your brush, not completely dry obviously, and then just lay your brush over where it's going to puddle, because it will puddle. Let me explain. We'll make this really runny. Look, I forgot my water pot today, so I've had to pinch one of the coffee cups. I'm using smooth card, Teresa, not watercolour card. So if we go in, can you see how that puddles? We've got a big puddle of powder in there, of paint in there, and we don't really want that. So go in, dry your brush off, and literally you're just going to lay your brush on there and it will automatically soak that up for you. Now obviously my powder that I've mixed up is now too thin because I added loads of water. So I'm just going to go in and add a bit more powder to that bit of water there. Now it takes a little bit of practice to work out the consistency you need to paint with. If you paint too thick, let me show you, if I make this really thick now, go the opposite direction. If you paint it too thick, it will go quite gloopy. Can you see how it doesn't kind of flow off your brush? If you make it just right, it's like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, isn't it? When you drain it off the brush, it will come off quite slowly from the top of the brush. So I would say that's a little bit thin. But again, this is all just trial and error. Bear in mind, I've been doing this for a long time with the mica powder, so I kind of know what I'm looking for. But not, again, it just takes a little bit of practice. So don't be disheartened if it doesn't work out perfectly first time. Just play about with it a little bit before you go on to your finished, to make your finished card, and then you won't ruin your card before you even start. So as I said, to make those colours darker, wait till it's dry, then go back in and paint over the top. Hi Debbie, not too bad, thank you very much. Hope you're alright and hope everybody had a lovely Christmas and New Year. That seems a lifetime ago now though, doesn't it? And you can keep building that up if you want to. It will get to a point where it won't go any darker. Now if you do want it darker or lighter, we do a black called Blackjack, and we do a white called White Opal. There's no difference in these pots. Some have got white lids and some have got black lids. It's just our suppliers ran out of white lids, so we had to go over to black. So if you want that lighter, you are literally going to pop your damp brush in and mix yourself up a little bit of lighter colour. Let's mix a bit more because we're a bit run out a bit here. So you're going to take your colour. Now also another little tip for you. When you are mixing a colour in to make it lighter or darker, mix the base colour first, so i.e. the pink, and then add your white into it. If you do the white and then add the pink into it, oh, I lied, it's the other way around. Mix your white depends which way around you want to. This is the best way to do it for me, personally. Clean your brush off. So I've mixed white, which you can't really see hugely well on there, but then I'm just going to take a little bit of the pink, because you're changing the white to a darker colour. You're going to need to use a lot more white to make your pink lighter than if you just wanted to make a light pink. Does that make sense? Hopefully it makes sense. I'm glad you're finally on the road to recovery, Debbie. If you feel anything like I did, it's probably not till today that I've started to feel a little bit more human. So this is the same colour pink, so our pink sapphire, with the white added to it. So that gives you the lighter pink. So all the colours you've got, you can go in and change those colours. Now, as far as adding it to make it darker, you're going to do the opposite. You're going to make your pink up first. You're with me? I know I confused you to start with. So you're going to make your pink up first. As much as you can, try keeping that brush as dry as you can when you're adding in another colour, because obviously every time, if the brush is wet when you add in another colour, you're adding more water into that colour that you thought you'd already got the right consistency for. So that's the tiniest amount of black. The black goes a heck of a long way, so be prepared. Let's do it where I've drained the brush and it doesn't puddle. There you go. Can you see that? So that's all done from this base colour, which was our raspberry ripple. This we've added white into it, or white, and we've added the pink into it. This we had the pink and we've added the black into it, but all the same colour. Oh, we've had you up. Finally got it done, Debbie, finally. Glad to hear it. I forgot you were planning, that was on the cards. So that's a little bit about painting with the micas. If anybody's got any questions as we're going along, shout, because, well, can't actually physically shout clearly, but just ask, because obviously I'm trying to answer do as much as I can to cover this so that you know what we're talking about. Obviously, don't waste that if you don't have to, but I'm trying to cram everything in to show you, so we'll get rid of that out of our way. Shading isn't quite as easy, Teresa, with the mica powders, so bear that in mind when you're painting. I'd go with the solid colours rather than trying to shade it in. You can give it a go, but it's not particularly easy, if that makes sense. You can. That's my going to be one of my demos, so bear with us. Just a couple of things to let you know. Oh, sorry, Debbie, that was all I'm talking to. Yes, you can paint straight onto first mark, and I'll show you that in a couple of minutes. Just a couple of things I wanted to tell you about. Now, we have 3 colours within our range, which is our peppermint cream, candy floss, and honeycomb, which are all what they call dual tone. So if I paint with these on white, they're one colour, and if I paint with them on a dark base, they're another colour. So again, really quick, I'm going to mix these up so that you can see I've made a right mess of it with that one because I didn't tap my pot first. That's a little tip. With the mica powders, it goes a heck of a long way. So tap your pot before you tip it out. Again, brush in your paint, mix that up. And as I say, keep mixing it until you're happy with the consistency. And the mica powder does go a long, long way, so be aware of that when you're opening your pots. Right, drain that out. Now, on white, we have the green hue. Now, I'm purposefully doing it in straight lines because I want to get a fairly large area on there for you. That's it painted onto white. A really nice pale green. Paint it onto black. You found me on Facebook, Liz. Look, check you out. You're spinning all around the world of the World Wide Web today. And when you paint it on black, it has a gold hue to it. So they're the same 2 colours. I know it's quite difficult. They are quite difficult to see. In real life, they are easier to see. But that's the peppermint cream. Now, honeycomb, same thing. Pop a little bit of water on your mat or in your paint palette. Mix your colour up. Now people go, ugh, put a wet brush in that powder. Do you know what? I've done this for years. And the only bit that gets affected is the tiniest little amount at the very bottom of your pot, which you can then just use the powder in the pot. So it doesn't really make a huge difference. Remember, drain that water out. Now I would say that's a little bit thick. So we're going to go in with a little bit of water, and that was probably a bit too much water. Tracy, we're working on that. There's been a few delays, obviously, with lots of issues going on with China and the COVID rules, and so hopefully in the next few, and then we've had Chinese New Year, so hopefully very soon they will be back in stock. Now this is our honeycomb, which when you use it on white cardstock you get the yellow. When you use it on dark cardstock it has a pink hue to it. It's almost like a rose goldy colour to it. Mary, it's entirely up to you with however you mix it. I forgot my paint palette today, hence it's not being mixed on there. It's entirely up to you. If you're going to use them on a paint palette, you can obviously keep them in the paint palette and just go back and reactivate them. If you haven't got a paint palette, then it's absolutely fine to just mix it on your mat. Right, so that was our honeycomb, and now on to our candy floss, which is a really bright pink. So we mix the powder up. As I say, it takes a little bit of practice to work out how thick you need that powder to be, or that paint to be, should I say. And then we will just mix that on there. And then pick some more. Remember, each time go in and drain the excess off your brush. And this one also has a goldy tone to it. It's one of those ones that, depending on how you catch the light, you'll pick up sort of the base colour in there. So it can pick up some of that pink and it can pick up some of that green. But predominantly it's those darker colours. It is a really lovely pink, Tracy, I have to say. It's kind of a rosy gold. Again, because even on the white, if you catch it right on the light, you'll pick up that opposite colour. So and that's those three. There's only 3 in our range that do that. So that is peppermint cream, honeycomb, and candy floss. That kind of gives it away, the sweetie type ones. So we'll just get rid of this off here. Right, so that's that bit done. On to the next bit. Say, I apologise if I do start a coughing fit. I'm doing my very best not to, but you never know with this little bug that's going around the world at the moment, do you? So then somebody just mentioned, can you brush stamp with mica powders? And the answer is yes, you can. So we will grab this stamp here. I've got a couple of different stamps here to try to show you with. Let's just grab this one for a minute. So this is our Garden Delight. As I said, I'm doing all of this kind of on scrappy bits of, well, not scrappy bits, but on scraps of paper, of cuts. But this is our black cardstock and our 250 GSM I'm using here, I think. But all the mica powders, in case you hadn't realised, and I haven't even mentioned it, have a pearl finish to them. Can you see that? So they've got a pearl finish. Mica powders are basic, a mineral that has been ground down. And makeup is made of mica powders. It's just done in a it's just a more what's the word I'm looking for? It's done as cosmetic grades. There's all different grades. Ours is not cosmetic. Please do not use it on your face. It is not edible. Please do not use it on your food. But our mica powders have got what they call gum arabic already in it, which is why you can paint with it and not have to set it. Some other companies do not have the gum arabic in it because of techniques that they use with their powders. So with those particular ones, you will have to add the gum arabic in. Most of them would sell that separately. It's like a glue base and it's really messy. But that's entirely up to you. I couldn't tell you which companies they are. I don't know, so it would be trial and error if you do already have some mica powders you want to try all this with. So Versamark ink on our stamp onto black cardstock. I have to say this works better on darker cardstock than it does on the lighter cardstock. Just so that you know. Now what colours am I going to go with? Bear with me, I want to grab a couple. Have I got them here? Gold. I like doing this with... we need a gold, a silver... Bear with me. So I'm going to do this with gold, silver and copper. Now I would suggest don't do as I say, don't do as I do as I say. I would normally put an anti-static bag on here, but I was waffling and didn't do it. So you're literally, this is a dry paintbrush, no water on it at all. And I'm just going to go in and dab that where I want that to be. Now I'm going to use 3 different colours. You can't do the same with this as you would with the embossing powders. If you mix the colours, you can't separate the colours and then go back in. They will cross-contaminate each other, so be aware of that. If you were thinking you can save those colours, you can't. But the tiniest amount that you're using won't make that much difference to what you're doing. And then you're going to go in. But you've just got to make sure that your full stamped image has got some powder on it of some colour. Doesn't matter what colour it is, because whatever you do, it will still look really effective. take the white out of the way for a moment. If you could see behind the scenes here, it's absolute carnage. Right, you will then tap your excess off. I would recommend you have a bin close by because it will go a long way. Unless you want to put it onto a separate piece of cardstock, which you are more than welcome to do. And then you can pop that in a mixed pot then, and then you'll have an even different, another colour. So then all you're literally going to do is take a piece of kitchen paper and you're going to scrub over the top of that. So all we did was stamp out our Versamark ink with our image and then went in and over the top with mica powder. It will have it still has the pearl finish, so you can still catch that pearly finish on it, but it is slightly more matte looking than if it's the painted version. Oh, let's get that going. There we go, there we go. So you won't get quite the same shine. There we go, that's probably the best way. On your Versamark stamped image, but it still looks really, really effective. And I am going to, you can do that like, the script background looks amazing with it done. Now I am literally going to really cheat here and just do a small section of this. I really need the border, it'll make life a lot easier for me. Right. So, again, remember I'm just showing you a few tips and techniques here, so it's not all done beautifully. But you're getting the idea, I hope. Tina, I hope I'm answering you some questions that you had on micas and what to do with them. If anybody has got any questions, please just let me know. I'll type it in and I'll try and keep up with you. So this again is stencil down, mica Versamark ink, and I'm just pushing it through the stencil. I'm just going to do a section of this. I'm not going to do the whole thing, so that you can get the idea. Now obviously your stencil will be sticky, so you need to make sure that you wipe your stencil over before you put it all away. Which I'm going to do super quick, just because otherwise I'm bound to put something over the top of it and really not be happy. Sorry, I know that's not the most exciting thing to watch me do, but it will make my life a lot easier when I've finished. And I'll probably stick something to it that I wished I hadn't stuck to. Now obviously that's quite a big surface, so you can go with it however you want. If you just want to do one colour and you've got a big brush like this one, just go in with one big brush. Would you be able to stamp on wood and do the same thing with a mica on top? I would imagine you would be able to, Michelle. I would just recommend though that you make sure you've got a fairly juicy ink if you're going to do that. That's all I would suggest with that. I've never tried it directly onto wood with a stamp, but I can't see why you wouldn't be able to. But again, this technique would work really well as well with the multicolours on your stencils. I just thought I would try it just in one colour so that you can see it in a solid colour. Although you know me, I'm a sucker for all of these, for the multicolours. I do like that effect. So that is the gold that I've popped on there. They would fit large finished cards in. I'm not sure if they'll fit the 8x8. We'll try it in a minute, Debbie. I'll show you them again at the end, just because obviously you missed a section of that, and I'm sure others did too. So that's just gone through the stencil. Same principle. You are just gonna note the Versamark doesn't smudge, Liz. I'm just then going to go back in again, do exactly the same technique and just buff it off. I always think you do get a crisper image with the stamps than you do with the stencils. So remember that we have this, the tartan in a stamp as well. But there you go. But the Versamark definitely works better with a darker cardstock than it does if you do it onto a white cardstock. So that's the one with the multicolours in it. And then that's just a solid colour. What else was I going to show you? Right, so you can then do a couple of other things with these. If I just grab this piece, it will make it be easier. We'll get rid of this board out of my way. So, right, most of us have now made these little disc things redundant, haven't we? So I put all of mine in the wash and I use them for my blending if I want to blend with micas. So you know how around the edges, I wouldn't recommend trying to blend the colours together because they don't blend very easily, particularly on paper. They might work better onto vellum or something like that. I haven't tried it, so I can't tell you the answer to that. So literally I've taken a sponge and dry powder, load it into the brush. And then you know how you can go around the edges with your inks? We're going to do exactly the same. So we've got no blending on there at all. And then I've tried to go with a fairly vibrant colour so that you can see it. But I'm hoping. So this would kind of like finish your topper off. Do we have any brighter colour micas you can demo with? I'm on the website trying to decide which ones to buy. They're all different. So the brighter colours is the summer collection, which is the Raspberry Ripple, Lime Zest, Tangerine Fizz, which is the one that I'm using right now, and Lemon Sherbet, I think is that 5. So that's the brightest colours on in the range. So how is it going to pick it up? And you just see that orange hue. You can see where it's still white down here, and that's the blending around the edge. Now let me see if I can try that with a darker colour and see if it shows up a bit better, because that isn't showing up great on that bouncing now. Do you know, this morning it wasn't bouncing at all, which is why I didn't put all the lights and stuff on, because it didn't need it this morning. It was too much. And now I'm thinking we might have needed them. Never mind. Too late, they cried. Let's try this one here. Right, so this is our colour I grabbed here. Sour grape. And don't forget, you know how you saw me mixing the white and the black into colours? You can do the same with any of the other colours. Mix them together and see what colours you come up with. Just like you would have done with any paints. Now obviously this is going to be a subtle effect. You are not going to get a solid dark line or a solid purple line. I'm trying to come up with a colour that shows up on camera, but they do show up big time, just not on the camera. That shows you a little bit how you get the blend around the edge like you would with an ink. It's not showing up hugely well there, but try it. It's really worth it if you're using micas just to finish the whole card off with that technique around the edge is really nice. The other thing you can do with them is, I'm trying to remember all the bits as I'm going along. So we've done the mixes, we've done the tricolours, which is the dual tones. We have done the blending and mixing of colours. Now this is excuse me, just a normal spray bottle with a little bit of water in. And you can, I've got a brush that somebody managed to bend with their heat tool, but it actually works really well with what I want it to do. So just a little bit of water in the bottom. And I'm going to scoop some of that powder out and tip it into the bottle. Glitter, not so much really. You don't actually need to mix the glitter in, Debbie, because it's got a pearl finish, shiny finish to it anyway, so the glitter wouldn't hold with the mica powders. So it's not a silly question, because you don't know. Any question isn't a silly question if you don't know the answer, is what I always say. So please always feel free to ask any questions, because somebody else is probably thinking exactly the same thing. So we've mixed a little bit of powder in there. Give it a bit of a shake. I've been waffling too much, I think. And then we're going to spritz this. Now you do need to let that dry. But once it's dried, you get a really, really pretty finished effect. Now if you've got one of those blending spray bottles that give you different amounts of spray out at one time, at different times, and you can control the levels of droplets and things that come out, that would be really effective as well. Now I don't know if I could dry that with a heat gun, if it'll work. We'll try it. Bear with me a second, and I'm not sure you're going to pick it up on the screen, but it will give you a pearl finish. Blast, just to give you an idea. Just like any of the mica sprays that are on the market now, it's not going to show it, not at all. If I can let that dry, and it will come back to it at the end. I wonder if it will be better on a darker colour. Should we try? Let's see. I'll see. Pop them to one side and see how they dry, and see whether we can pick up that mica shimmer on them. We'll come back to those in a few mementos. So I did say I wanted to show you a finished card. So today's card, I have done all of it ahead of schedule, because obviously I knew that my voice might not hang out till the end, and otherwise we could be going on forever, couldn't we? What have we done? So far we've been waffling for 3/4 of an hour. And you know I like a good waffle. So the card today would be an 8x8 card, and we have got a 7 3/4 inch black layer, a 7 1/2 inch white layer. We've got belly band, which is 3 1/4 for the black, 3 for the white. And the length is the same as the outer edge, which is 7 3/4 the black. The reason I do that is otherwise you've got to fight to line the white up in the middle as well, and that drives me insane. And then whatever scraps you've got to do your sentiment on there. So all I did was go in and stamp and colour the images like you saw me do this flower earlier. Okay? Excuse me. So we stamped the image out and cut first with onyx black, crystal clear embossing powder over the top. So onyx black VersaFine. Wow, this light is horrendous. Onyx black VersaFine, and then crystal clear embossing powder over the top, like you've seen me do a million times. If you're not sure, go back to the start of this video and you will see it. I'm hoping that was Martin just came out, and he's maybe going to put some lights on for me, and that might help us out a bit with this light bouncing. So all I have literally done is go in and stamp the 2 smaller. Let's see whether that helps. I think it's helped a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Yep, there we go. Yay. So we've gone in, stamped out the image multiple times, and coloured it with a various range of colours. So we have got our Raspberry Ripple, Lemon Sherbet, Blue Lagoon, Tangerine Fizz, and Lime Zest are the 3 colours I've used here. Now everybody's comments have gone quiet, so I don't know if it's because you're watching me or if you've had enough of me. It's up to you. And literally I have done that on the card complete. We've also done a belly band exactly the same way. I'm going to ink this up. No, not. I'm going to glue it up. We're just going to stick this down. Now, I have tried to do this all as one level because it means it goes through as a small. Is that better, Liz? You can see us better. You're just watching us, Teresa. Hopefully you're picking up lots of hints and tips. I love the mica powders. They're a really good way of playing about. They don't cost a fortune. You can play about with all the different colours and styles and different techniques. And that one, using it with the Versamark and the dry ink, the Versamark ink and the dry powder is fab, because it, well look, I couldn't have done that if I tried. Look, I've nearly lined up that flower at the top there. I'm glad you like those colours together, Teresa. Marianne. You're all concentrating, is that what you're doing? So as I said, I did all of this ahead because obviously, as you can hear, my voice is slowly disappearing on us now. So we're going to just stick this all down. If anybody needs and has any questions about any of this, please feel free to email me or come to me on Facebook or YouTube, and I will do my best to answer you. So anybody coming to Sandown in a couple of weekend after this. So the 28th, 29th is the Crafting Live at Sandown. We will be there as always on stand B04. Mum will be there demoing her little heart out, all being well. And yeah, it'll be lovely to see you all. It's going to be nice to get back to the shows. Seems like forever since we've seen anybody. The last show we did was at the end of November, and that seems such a long time ago. Right, so we're just going to pop that belly band in the middle. Hopefully straight. And then we're going to pop a sentiment in the middle there. So this is one of those cards that should fit through as a letter rather than a large letter. It might be a large letter because it's an 8x8 card, but you could always make this into a smaller card and have exactly the same concept. And because of the dimensions of it, you haven't got any gems on it, you haven't got any, it kind of hopefully would work. So that is how simple that card would be. So literally it is your flower stamped out. Oh yeah, Martin will also be there as well. Mum will be demoing. Martin will be there to help answer all your questions and find all your products that you can't find. And I'll probably be on the till, because that's where he usually shoves me out of the way. So yeah, it's going to be really nice to see everybody there. As I say, it's been a long time. So stand B04, which is a stand we've been on for a long time. We're an L shape, so you'll catch us on two aisles as well, which is lovely. Excuse me. So that is that card. How simple is that? So just a quick recap on how we would do that. So you are going to stamp it with your black VersaFine ink. You are then going to crystal clear embossing powder over the top and heat that. That allows you to paint over all the lines. Thank you, Vanessa. I thought that was probably the case, so you might have to go slightly smaller to go through as a standard letter. Sorry, so you're gonna, if you put your embossing powder on, it allows you to paint over these lines, and it will come, it will resist. Where, yes, Sharon, we will be at the Lee show. It allows you to resist wherever the embossing powder is. Now, if you do this without embossing, do not, I repeat, do not paint over your black lines, because they will just go a cloudy mess. So always, I recommend you stamp and emboss before you paint with them. That's just if you're painting with them. Obviously, if you're going to use Versamark, you're going to go over it with dry powder and it will pick up where those lines are. But please, please, please make sure you emboss before you paint with it. It will make your life so much easier. I think that's all I need to tell you about with those. Remember those tips about making sure you drain your excess water off your brush. So you'll end up with a really pretty piece of paper, of kitchen paper by the end of it. Don't go for the really expensive kitchen paper. Excuse me. Middle of the road. The cheap stuff doesn't always work as well either. Just your basic kitchen paper will work fine. But don't forget that stage, because it will make your life a lot easier. So I did say I would show you these boxes again. So let me just grab them. As I say, if you could see the state of this place now, because I've thrown things all over the place, it's an absolute mess. So here is one of them. When you get it, it says on here embossing storage, but it's not. Results, result. You'll have to go back and watch it, Tina, that's all. So this will say embossing folders, but ignore that because I don't use it for embossing folders at all. So don't panic if you get it and it comes in and it says embossing folders. So in the smaller size, you get 15 of these inserts. Now it holds our dies, and you have a little strip extra pocket on the side here. So if you've got borders or anything like that that you want to store, they're brilliant for that. I'm still jury out as to whether I'm going to use it with my inserts in or with my inserts out. So I'm still playing about with that to decide. But you can fit so many in. This is the 15 inserts that it comes with. I purposefully did it so you could see it just with the 15. And see how much more room you've got in there. So you can have more inserts in there, which you can pick up off eBay for, or Amazon or wherever, really cheap. Just the plastic inserts, A5 or A6 I think would work for most of it. And then you can store everything in there, pop a lid on. How pretty are those boxes? I just think it's lovely. So it comes in this one, and it comes in, sorry, as I said, I've got so much stuff around, and it comes in the black. So this is Camilla Floral. This one is Olivia Damask, pink and green. You gotta love a pink and green. And then the first one I just showed you with my bits and pieces in is Grace. So that's those three, but they also come in a larger size. Sorry, I am coming back, I promise. And all three colours in the larger size as well. I'm not 100% sure what the boxes are, Mum. I think they are $14.99 for the smaller one, and I want to say $15.99 for this one. I'm not 100% sure. So this one is a slightly taller one, but it works really well for our larger sets of stamps. It also holds our stencils. So this is the packets I was talking about. So I just got the load off Amazon. A5 and A6 pockets, poly pockets. So fab storage, love them. But also look really pretty, which is the nice thing. And again, comes in the three colours. So I think that's enough of me waffling. Those boxes, once they're gone at the moment. We can't get any more. We are trying our best, but not sure if we can. What else do I need to tell you? So Sandown this coming weekend at, no, not this coming weekend, the weekend after next, 28th and 29th of January. Also, our next YouTube live is, Facebook live is going to be the 1st of February. So we're not going to be here next Wednesday. They're going to be here the 1st of, our next Facebook live, YouTube live will be the 1st of February. Excuse me. So please don't expect to see us next week. It's absolute chaos here next week. So I've had to postpone us for a week. I apologise for that. We will try and do our best to get back to doing every Wednesday. So those storage boxes are available on our website. Forgot to mention that. So if you pop on there, I think they're under the new category. They haven't made it into any other category yet because they are that new in, because I've just fell in love with them when I got them. Shirley can have 2 of the smaller ones. She just needs to tell me which colours she would like. If anybody else has any questions, please feel free. You can email me on honeydewcrafts@gmail.com, or you can find us. See there? I tried not to get my finger in the camera then. Or you can find us, email us through our website, www.honeydewcrafts.co.uk, or you can just message us via Facebook. Also, don't forget, we've got our Be Inspired page that you can join as well. Everybody's showing all their bits and pieces that they're making. Everyone's getting back into making after putting all the Christmas decks away, which is lovely to see. Again, I apologise if I've started to get a bit croaky and a bit waffly. I am going to say goodbye now because we've been nearly an hour. And so hopefully I've answered as many questions as I can on those bits and pieces. I was going to try and show you the new stencils with the micas as well. It would work. They work brilliantly. Remember the new stencils that we bought out? These ones here with the stencils and masks. They are fab. Oh, that way. They're fab with that same technique with the blending around the edges. Do you remember, if you want to look back on the, I think it was the last demo or the demo before last that I did with these stencils and the inks off the edge? There was no point in me showing it you because it wasn't standing out on the camera. But you can use the masks and take the mica powders off the edges dry, or you can paint off the edges with them. There's so much you can do. Just fiddle and play and enjoy them. Hopefully I've answered everybody's questions. I'm going to stop waffling. I will see you all again on the 1st of February, if not before. And hopefully see lots of you at Sandown on the 28th, 29th of January. Have a lovely week and see you all soon.